Hi, 8th graders. So in this demonstration, we're going to be looking at moon phases, and so that's the Earth, Sun, and Moon system. So we're going to be looking at the moon from Earth's perspective, and the sun is actually going to be that big wall, not just that one spot, but the whole wall, because the sun is just so big. So we're looking from Earth's perspective up at the night sky to see the moon in its different phases during its orbit. So here we're going to have station A, and then we're going to go through different stations. So we're going to move to the left because the moon orbits counterclockwise around the Earth. So we went from station A to B, now we're at C, all the way over to D, and then E, and then F, and then all the way over to G, and then H is our final station, and then we'll head back to station A at the beginning. And so what you can notice at station A is that from Earth's perspective, what we see is a dark moon. So the moon is always 50% lit up, and so what we see from Earth is the dark half of that 50% at station A, and this would be a new moon for its moon phase. And so we're going to move over to station B to the left because we move counterclockwise. Moon orbits Earth counterclockwise, and at station B, we can see that on the right hand side there's a thin sliver of light. And so when it's on the right hand side, that means it's waxing, and because we see that crescent shape, it's going to be a waxing crescent. So the light's on the right hand side and it's in the shape of a crescent, so it's a waxing crescent. Moving to the left, we are at station C. Now half of the moon is lit up on the right hand side, so that means that is first quarter, and so it's a quarter moon because 50% of the moon is lit up and we only see half of that half, so that's why it's a quarter. We move to the left at section D, and we see that on the right hand side, majority of the moon is lit up. We can see a tiny little sliver of darkness on the left hand side, but mostly on the right hand side it's lit up. So that is a waxing gibbous. And then we're going to move over to station E, and at station E we see the Earth and the moon, and so we see that the moon is fully illuminated at 100%. And notice that the moon is actually located above the Earth, and this is why we don't get a lunar eclipse every single month, is because the moon orbits the Earth in this lopsided circle. At station F, we notice that mostly the left-hand side of the moon is lit up, and there's a thin sliver of darkness on the right-hand side. This would be a waning gibbous, so the light is on the left-hand side, making it waning. If we move to station G, we see that half of the left-hand side is now lit up and the right side is dark, and so this indicates third quarter. Again, only 50% of the moon is lit up at a time, and we see half of that half, which makes it a quarter, and this is the third quarter moon phase. And then finally moving over to station G or H, this is we see a thin line of light on the left-hand side, and most of the right-hand side is dark, so this would be a waning crescent. So we see a crescent, a thin crescent on the left-hand side, and mostly darkness on the right-hand side, and that's what makes it a waning crescent. In the next section, we're going to be talking about eclipses. So this is a demonstration of a solar eclipse when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, and when it does so, the moon ends up casting a shadow onto the earth for a brief moment. And so in this next picture, it'll show you a diagram. So when the moon passes directly in front of the sun, it casts a shadow onto the earth, and as you can see, the shadow is very small. And so only a small portion of the earth or people on earth can see a solar eclipse when it happens. And what makes solar eclipses more rare is that they usually happen over bodies of water, so it's harder for us to see. And in this next demonstration, this is a lunar eclipse, and so this is when Earth lines up with the moon and casts a shadow over the moon, which makes it turn red for a brief moment, and then once it starts to pass away, past it, you can see the shadow disappearing. So this image shows you what happens during a lunar eclipse, and a lunar eclipse is the one and only time that the Earth ever casts a shadow on the moon. The Earth never casts a shadow on the moon. Only during a lunar eclipse does that happen.